My mother is pressuring me to marry my disturbing stepbrother and bear his child. Imagine this. Your own mother, the woman who gave you life, looks you in the eye and demands you marry your abuser, her stepson, and have his child. It's a reality so twisted, so utterly horrifying. It's been my life for far too long, and now it's all crashing down. From the moment my mom married his dad, when I was just 4 and Chris was 17, he became a darkness that would shadow my entire life. Both our parents had been widowed, and soon after their wedding, we moved to the U.S. I was born there, but after my biological father died when I was 1, my mom and I went back to Colombia. My stepdad eventually got his residency, and because Chris was a minor, he came too. But Chris, my new stepbrother, made it clear he wasn't a fan of me. My earliest memories are just a blur of constant, relentless bullying. Since he was studying locally and living with my parents, he'd often be left in charge of me. His idea of babysitting? Locking me in the guest bathroom, or worse, the shed outside. He'd steal my lunchbox on the way to school, and then he started targeting my pets. I have an old cat who's been with me for nearly 22 years, and more than once, he actually tried to run her over with his car. My parents, they never believed a word. Chris was the textbook golden child. My mom had always desperately wanted a son, not a daughter, so he took absolute priority over me. The bullying just escalated, growing darker, creepier. Our bathroom door had this old-fashioned lock that could be opened from the outside with a long key or stick. He'd use it, walking in on me while I was showering. My underwear would disappear sometimes, and I just knew deep in my gut it was him. Then came the photos, waking up to him taking pictures of me sleeping. One night, I woke up to something even more horrifying. He was pleasuring himself right next to me. I screamed, of course. My parents rushed in, but it wasn't Chris who was in trouble. It was me for tempting him. I was 14. He was 27. No one helped me, and he only grew bolder, until at 16, he did something so profoundly traumatizing that I'm still in therapy for it to this day. At that point, I hit my absolute limit. I called my biological half-brother, Sam, who's older than me, 48. He's my biological father's son from his first marriage. I just needed to know if I could live with him and his wife, Sandy, for my last 2 years of high school. When Sam heard what was happening, he was furious. He confronted my mom, but she didn't care. Her exact words were, "Take her, just don't ever ask me for money." Done. And done. My brother and Sandy became my legal guardians, and they welcomed me into their home. My cat came with me, and even the old family dog. I couldn't bear to leave any living creature with Chris around. My parents never once checked on me after that. But my paternal family, including Sam's mother and her family, they knew everything. They rallied around me, ensuring I finished high school and went to college. I honestly don't even know my maternal family at all, thanks to my mom. Because of my incredible paternal family, I earned my bachelor's and master's degrees with 0 student debt and now work as a nurse practitioner. I still live with Sam, Sandy, and their 2 amazing kids, paying a small rent. They never expected me to pay anything, but it's the least I can do for the 2 people who truly raised me for 13 years. For anyone wondering why I haven't moved out, it's incredibly expensive where I live, and Sam insists I stay until I save enough to buy my own home. Things felt stable, even peaceful, until recently. My mom messaged me out of the blue. She hadn't reached out since I was 18, when she coldly informed me she had no more responsibility for me. This time, she sounded overly friendly, telling me how much she missed me, asking how I was doing. I was creeped out, but decided to be civil, sharing a little about what I'd done since leaving her care. She seemed very interested, apparently knowing I was a nurse, but not what kind. Then she started asking about my salary. I kept it vague, just enough to pay the bills. That's when she started talking about Chris, how he was barely making any money because of his student debt. Apparently, he never finished a degree, just jumped from career to career. Now he's working as a salesman in my stepdad's used car business, but most of his pay goes toward the substantial debt he'd accumulated over the years. I told my mom I was sorry Chris was having a hard time and wished him luck. That's when she finally got to the point. She texted me that I needed to pay off his student debt, so he could finally start making the money he deserves, like the man of the family. My blood ran cold. I just turned off my phone. When I got home, Sam was surprised. I'm usually the last one. Sandy wasn't back yet. I showed Sam my mom's text messages. I don't think I've ever seen him that angry. He told me to block my mom, my stepdad, and Chris immediately if I hadn't already. After talking with Sam and Sandy, I called my boss to ask for the next 2 days off, giving me a 4-day weekend. My boss, knowing some of my history, was more than okay with it, telling me to take it easy and let her know if she could help. That turned out to be a mistake. The very next day, my mom and Chris decided to come to Sam's house. I was alone. Sam and Sandy were at work, the kids at school. My heart hammered. I immediately called Sam, telling him what was happening. He told me not to open the door and that he was on his way. My mom spent the entire time screaming that I owed them for raising me, that my sweet brother deserved the money. Chris, meanwhile, was circling the house, trying to find an unlocked window or door. He found none. Our windows have safety bars, and the only other doors are in the closed garage and one in the yard. Both were locked, and I double-locked the garage door just in case. From one of the windows, Chris saw me. I won't repeat the vile names he called me, but he basically said they should have thrown me away when I was a baby since I grew up to be such a burden. He pounded on the window so hard the glass cracked. Eventually, he gave up and went back to the front door, clearly trying to kick it down. The door was a security door, so I wasn't truly worried it would break, but I was still terrified. Between their yelling, threats, pleading, and insults, I finally heard Sam screaming at them to get lost. I only saw things from the window, but Sam pretty much dragged both of them off the porch. They got to a point where I couldn't hear, but I saw my mom and Chris looking utterly pale and scared before they ran to their car and drove off, way past the legal speed limit. By the way, if you're still with me and finding yourself gripping your seat, make sure to hit subscribe. More unbelievable stories like this are unfortunately still coming. Sam came in a bit later, immediately going into full protective brother mode, asking if I was okay. He kept saying sorry, and hugging me. Sandy arrived almost immediately after, looking like she was about to commit a felony. Apparently, Sam had threatened them with filing charges for what Chris did to me when I was 16. And here's my brother's ace in the hole. My stepdad was willing to testify against his own son. That seemed to be enough to get Chris off our backs, but not my mom. Since then, it's been 3 days of relentless hell. My mom has sent texts, called nonstop from various numbers, and even rallied a group of people who are supposedly my maternal family to harass me for money. She claimed the money should legally be hers since she's my mother, and that it's my late father's missed child support. Sam is helping me find a lawyer to get a restraining order on my mom, and I fully plan to take my stepdad's offer to testify by pressing charges against Chris. I can't say I forgive my stepdad for not stopping his son years ago, but I appreciate that he's at least trying now. I don't know the full details, but Chris did something truly awful to one of his dad's relatives, and they've had a really bad fallout since. I took my boss's generous offer and will be on vacation for a few more days, but my precious vacation days are getting eaten up, and my therapist might need a therapist after this. Thankfully, my dark sense of humor and my incredibly supportive paternal family are keeping me somewhat sane. The updates just keep coming. My mother is absolutely unrelenting. To those who gave me advice earlier, thank you so much. It truly helps to have kindness in such difficult days. I followed the advice to freeze my credit, and I'm getting a new phone for personal use, though I'll have to keep my old one for work for a little while. We're moving forward with pressing charges and might even pursue a civil lawsuit for 2 years of child support my mother owes. We're not sure of our chances, but my brother wants to go scorched earth. As for my mother, she's launched a new campaign. She's been posting false accusations about me online, claiming I accused my stepbrother Chris of sexual assault, which is true, but she's framing it as a lie. She's also been accusing me of being a temptress who tried for years to sleep with my brother. She even got a few relatives, who I just found out are my aunts, to join in, claiming they were witnesses. I have never met these women in my life. Then something truly wild happened. My stepfather actually commented on her posts, calling my mom a liar and accusing his own son, Chris, of being a pedophile. That's how I found out about the big fallout between them. My stepbrother apparently went after one of my stepfather's nieces. I don't know the girl's exact age, but if I'm thinking of the right person, she has to be about my age, or even younger. And it gets crazier. A lot of my biological father's relatives have also taken to social media to call out my mother, pointing out that she always claimed she was an orphan and had no family, but now suddenly she has 3 sisters. It's a total mess. I'm just watching for now, mostly being a stay-at-home aunt. My nephews love it since we go out for crazy shenanigans after they finish their homework. My boss has helped me with paperwork for a leave of absence, so I should be off for about 6 weeks, and after that, I'll be mostly working from home for a few weeks. It's not the greatest update, and to be sincere, things are not fun, but it's nice to spend time with the kiddos at least. Oh, and I forgot to mention this, for those who wondered. No, my mom is not likely sleeping with or in a relationship with my stepbrother. My mom always wanted a son, and I was, in her eyes, a massive disappointment because I was born a girl. She treats my brother like he's her real son, and I genuinely think she loves him as a mother. She made sure to constantly tell me how disappointing it was for her when I was born. My whole life, she complained about me being a girl, saying things like, "If you were a boy, maybe we could have gotten more from your father," or "Girls are so useless." All I ever was to her was the problem child. She even took my inheritance and squandered it, mostly on things for my stepbrother. Whenever she had guests, she would introduce me and joke about how I ruined her body, and wasn't even worth it since I was a girl. Most of her friends actually thought I had some kind of mental illness because of her constant lies about me being mentally behind. During holidays, I would be left behind with a sitter, just too much of a problem child, who would ruin things for my sweet brother. We only have one family picture from when I was 5 years old. If I got anything nice with my own money, my mother would take it from me. If it was something like makeup or clothes, she would say I wasn't attractive or worthy enough to have such nice things, that I should just stick with a plain face since it would make it easier for me to find a job. She had absolutely no intention of letting me go to college. But the worst part, the absolute unforgivable part, is that she never protected me. My stepbrother is, and always has been, a predator. At first, he just bullied me, stealing my food and locking me in dark places. But when I hit puberty, he began doing far worse things. Walking in on me when I showered, even if I locked the door, stealing my underwear, watching me sleep, and he even sexually assaulted me when I was 16, and he was 29. My mother blamed it on me, saying I was tempting her poor, sweet boy. I was saved by my biological half-brother and his wife. They took me in at 16, finished raising me, and put me through college with the help of my paternal family. Even my father's first wife pitched in, and has always been kind to me. She's more of a mother to me than my own mother ever was. Now, I'm 29, have a good career as a nurse practitioner, and I'm saving to buy my own home. My mother found out about this and has been demanding that I give her my money because, as she puts it, she is my mother and my money should be hers. She also demands that I pay off my abusive stepbrother's student loans. Since I refused to comply with my dear mother's demands, she has now gone online to post that I'm a temptress trying to ruin her son's life and that I refuse to pay her back for all the care and love she supposedly gave me over the years. She even had some women who are supposedly my aunts join her in this. I've never met any of my maternal family. As far as I knew, my mother was an orphan. Now I suddenly have 3 aunts who claim to have seen how bad a person I am. This might be my last update about my mother and stepbrother for a while, since we're finally starting the legal fights. But I finally had a good laugh amidst all this chaos. In my previous posts, I haven't said much about my biological father. He died when I was 1 year old, so I never really met him. I have one picture of him holding me when I was an infant. I mostly know him from stories from his family. What I do know is that he was a man of means. He had a lot of assets that he carefully divided in his will. Not so rich I'll never have to work, rich, but just rich enough that I would be able to live comfortably as long as I worked and managed my finances well. I was not aware that he had made sure to leave me anything, and neither was my half-brother Sam. My understanding was that anything I inherited was wasted by my mother to buy things for her predator stepson Chris, whom she prefers over me. In her words, daughters don't need inheritance, just marry a wealthy old man like me. Well, since my mother and Chris have been harassing me lately, we drove to my dad's lawyer to get some things we need from my dad's records for the lawsuit we are planning. He's a sweet older man who kind of looks like my dad a bit and was my dad's best friend. When we met, he received me with a hug and told me how happy he was to finally meet me. His wife was there too, and she also gave me a big hug and told me we needed to have dinner at their place. Once we all caught up, we discovered something shocking. My mother had been faking receipts to get money from my trust. A lot of it, some of which was from when I was under Sam's guardianship. She's not the executor of my trust and had to provide receipts for anything she took. She's been sending receipts claiming they're for me because I'm still in medical school. even though I finished school in 2021. Well, her meal ticket not only got torn, but now she's in big trouble because this is outright fraud. And basically, my hands are tied about pressing charges. It's no longer just a civil matter. She claims me as a dependent on her taxes, so my dad's lawyer would refund her for her expenses. He basically told me there's just no way we can keep this in civil court. He had to contact the IRS and the police. It doesn't help that she's been using my social security number for some things she shouldn't have. Thank you to the people who advised me to freeze my credit. You guys saved me for sure. I probably won't be able to post for quite a while since I'm going to be incredibly busy. I'm just mentally exhausted from how much has happened. I wouldn't have done anything about my mom using my trust if she had just left me alone. I wouldn't even know about it because the trust is set for me to take over with proof of marriage or graduation from college. Since I didn't know about it, I never sent the required paperwork to take control. She could have milked it dry if she left me alone and just kept sending fake information. I'm in the process of getting what's left of my trust. There's quite a bit in it, and it should be enough for me to get a house or condo if I mix it with my savings and still have some left over to invest or do other things safely. I might wait for a while to buy anything, though. I don't know how safe it would be since my mom still has my social security number. Hey Reddit, this is more of a personal rant than a full-on update. Things are only starting on the legal side of things, so no real update or information I'm allowed to share. This is more on the personal side of things since I just came home from having my mother harass me in a bar. It was not fun. Short background. My mother is a greedy liar who let her stepson, Chris, who's 13 years older than me, abuse me since I was a small child. First it was physical abuse, then sexual abuse started when I was 14 until I was 16. Now she wants me to clear his student debt, and she has been mooching off my biological father's inheritance. As for last night, well, I decided to go out with some girlfriends for a girls' night. My half-brother Sam and his wife Sandy have been pushing me to go out for a while, wanting me to have some fun. We went to a bar. I mostly stuck to the stools by the bar as I'm a massive introvert, but I like seeing my friends having fun, so I was simply drinking and talking to the bartender and just enjoying the night. Well, my good mood was utterly ruined when I noticed my mother, thankfully alone, walking towards me. The moment she saw me, she pretty much launched herself to hug me and began crying, saying how much she had missed me and how different I looked. I was trying really hard to get away from her, but she began causing a scene. She started begging for us to reconcile, saying that she was sorry I took my stepbrother's affection the wrong way, and that they both love me and want me to live with them. She was loud, and people were looking at me, some even looked sorry for her, and I had people encouraging me to hug my mom back. It was embarrassing, humiliating, and just so wrong. I just exploded and told her to leave me alone and walked out. That was even worse because she kept following me with 2 or 3 random strangers, calling me a terrible daughter. She just kept swearing that Chris truly cares for me and wants us to be a family again. Then she said it. She actually said that he found me so beautiful that he couldn't help himself when he sexually assaulted you. She literally said, when he made love to you, as if it was something consensual. I was a minor when he attacked me. He was almost 30. I just started crying and screaming at her to go away and leave me alone. Thankfully, one of my more sober friends called Sam, and he came over very fast. He scared away my mom and took me home. I'm now 100% sure I don't want to go out again. For people wondering why I never called the cops, I called the cops since I was 11 to report the abuse. I reported at 16 what he did to me. They took his side. I don't trust them. I truly believe cops don't care about sexual assault victims. I'm just writing this to get it out of my system. My therapist is unavailable, so Reddit is the next best thing. Hey, it's been a bit, sorry for the radio silence. I had some people asking for updates, but things had been pretty quiet until this weekend, so I had nothing to post. I know people usually do a recap or something like that, so TLDR. My mother has always preferred my stepbrother Chris, who is 42. He was my abuser growing up. The abuse went from the time I was 11 to 16 when I moved in with my half-brother after the worst attack. I was recently tracked down by my mother, and she, along with my stepbrother, has been harassing me since. Currently, I'm in a legal fight against them to recover some stolen inheritance from my father and to resolve other matters. This weekend, once again, my mother decided to accost me at work. I was working from home doing clerical work for the clinic I work at. I'm a nurse practitioner, but took some clerical duties to be able to work from home when the mess with my mother and Chris began. Since then, the time I could work from home has ended, so I'm back in the clinic taking patients for the most part. Saturday went well and quiet. Sunday, however, I noticed someone that shared my mother's first name, but not her last name. My mom has a very unique, very old-sounding name, and I've seen it only twice in my whole life. Of course, there's a big Latino community where I live, so I just assumed this was another person. We're from a Colombian family, though I was born in the US to an American father. Lo and behold, it was my mother, using a fake last name. When I saw her, I immediately called my boss. She's aware of the situation and immediately went to ask my mother to please leave the premises. This can be a controversial move, so to explain it before the debate starts. She was in for a general checkup, not a life-or-death treatment. She was not denied because of protected reasons, but because I, as a member of staff, felt my life was in danger in her presence. There are a lot of other clinics with varying prices, and they are open to new patients, so she can get her checkup anywhere else. This is allowed under our state's law. If she was hyperventilating or clearly in distress, we would not have been able to ask her to leave. My mother, of course, went on a rampage, demanding to be seen by me specifically. My boss thankfully was not intimidated, and just insisted my mother had to leave, or else the cops would be called. After a back and forth that I was watching from the security cameras, this all happened in our waiting room. My mother threw a letter at my boss and left fuming. She even pushed a lady that was walking in, though thankfully no one was hurt. My boss brought me the letter and told me she will make sure not to assign me any patients with my mother's first name, and went to make arrangements with our front desk. I took a break and decided to read the letter, mostly to see if it was something I could use for my legal case. This is a translation to my best capabilities. My lovely daughter, it hurts me so much that you refuse to speak to me. I love you so much, and all I want is to recover the years we've lost. I only have you left from your father, whom I love dearly. I know there are a lot of misunderstandings with Chris. He loves you so much too, and I wish you would give him a chance to prove it to you. He always talked about how beautiful you are, and how much he wished you two could spend more time together. He truly adores you, and I wish you would consider his feelings more. He even asked me to convince you to marry him, and I think it's a wonderful idea. Papa, your stepfather, and I are probably divorcing, and this will be the perfect solution so Chris, you, and I can stay a family. He keeps going on and on about how much he wants to raise your and his baby together. Let me know when you want to go shopping for wedding dresses. I love you, my darling mom. I'm going to share a few personal notes here. I am unable to get pregnant after Chris's attack. I had some medical complications that have left me unable to conceive. My mother knows about it. Chris knows about it. The cops know about it. They ruled the whole thing as consensual sex, and because I was 16, the legal age of consent, nothing was done. I showed this letter to my lawyer, and he added it to the compilation of things we're using for the legal case. Still no court date, and the cops don't consider my case risky enough to do the paperwork for a restraining order. I do have one officer who is taking this very seriously and has been amazing. It's just the majority who don't seem to care or have too much on their docket to give my case time. I'm going to update here since it's only been 3 days, and it feels dumb to make a new post. Chris has been arrested. Apparently, he kidnapped a 2-year-old baby girl, his cousin's daughter, no less. The baby was recovered safe and unharmed, from what I heard. I'm so incredibly glad she wasn't taken for long. Who knows what the hell he wanted to do to her? If I hear more details, I'll update. I can't believe it's finally come to this, that his twisted sickness has escalated to such a horrific act against another innocent child. While a small part of me feels a chilling satisfaction, the overwhelming emotion is a profound and sickening relief that this monster, who my own mother wanted me to marry, is finally off the streets. What would you have done in my place, facing such an unimaginable betrayal from your own mother? Have any of you ever had a family member turn so completely against you, so consumed by a twisted agenda? Tell me what you think in the comments. I really want to know.